cow's name was Shubha and the sage's name was Vashishta. And the sage told the cow, serve all these people the best meal possible. And lo and behold, in front of each and every one of them, there was amazing feast prepared in the most opulent way. The king was eating, but his focus was not on the food. His focus was on the cow. Because he realized that actually, when he entered, he thought that the sage was poor and he was rich. He thought that he's the king and the sage is his subject. And he thought he is supposed to take care of the subject. But rather what happened was, the sage ended up becoming more richer than him because he had this cow. And then this king, he went to the sage and he asked him that, can you give me a cow? And in exchange, I'll give you 1 lakh cows. Can you imagine the offer? I'll take 1 cow and I'll give you 1 lakh cows. The sage said, the cow is my mother. I don't barter my mother. I don't give her my mother. I love her. This king, he thought that the sage is not able to, he doesn't like that price. So he increased the price. He said, okay, I'll give you 14,000 elephants, 800 golden chariots, 11,000 horses, and 1 million cows. Now, the sage, he told him, no. The king got wild. He, in fact, started pulling the cow. He said, I am the king of this place, and this cow is standing in my place, so I can take whatever belongs to me. And he started dragging the cow. And that's when the sage pointed out to him, he told him, the cow is not actually standing, it's not a part of your kingdom. And he looked down and he saw that the cow was floating in the air, it was not really standing on the ground. Then the king realized he made a big mistake. Of course, the story goes on. I take a pause here. And let us look at this from the perspective of life. The lesson that we learn over here is that Vashishta, the sage, he treated the cow as a person with the highest respect. And Vishwamitra, the king, he treated the cow as a commodity. When people are treated as commodities, they are given a price tag. Every commodity sells at a certain price. In life, this is how we live. What we're supposed to do is love people and use things. But unfortunately in this world, we do exactly the opposite. We love things and we use people. Consumerism begins by the concept of what is going to satisfy my needs, what is going to satisfy my senses. You buy something, and then the way the industry is, the way the advertising industry is, you are promoted to think that what I have now is not enough, or it's not going to satisfy me. I use it for some time, and something else comes up, I throw this and I buy something else. And that is also not useful, I throw it and buy something else. It starts with consumerism, and then it shifts to something known as hedonism. What is hedonism? Is when you do the same thing which you do with things, when you do it with people. I use this person, and after some time, I don't like this person. Throw this fellow out, get somebody else into my life. So when we start doing this with people, then relationships and people have price tags. You see, this person can give me a certain value in my life. I use that person for that amount of time. And the moment this person cannot add value to my life, I throw him out. What is old age homes? Essentially that. Another story, which is the cover page of the book. All of you, I'm sure you have seen the cover page of the book. This cover page teaches us something very wonderful. This is a story of Vishwamitra, the king, who eventually became a sage, and he became an intensely powerful sage. So at this point of time, this sage is trying to do a yajna, a sacrifice, for the welfare of the world. And there are some demons who are coming, constantly harassing them, trying to destroy the yajna. So he brings Ram and Lakshman with him to protect his yajna. And then for 6 continuous days, the sage is performing this yajna. And for 6 days, nothing happens. And on the 6th day, just when the yajna is going to become successful, there's a huge shriek, and hundreds of demons come, they're floating in the sky, and they are trying to throw all kinds of abominable things into the fire to destroy the sacrifice. And that's when Ram and Lakshman make a canopy of arrows on top, so that nothing falls into the sacrifice, and the sacrifice can continue. Now, if you see it from another angle, what this actually teaches us is that the sages who are pouring butter and ghee into the fire are like good advisors. And the ghee that they are pouring is like good advice, and the fire is like the mind. So the mind needs good advice from good advisors. But just when good advice is entering into the mind, there are people who are trying to find faults, right? They're trying to throw all kinds of bad advice. They're trying to throw all kinds of contaminated thoughts into the mind. So now you find in your life, what is life about? That's what life is about. Two sets of people entering into your life. One set of people trying to give you good advice. Another set of people trying to throw in contaminated thoughts in your mind. What do? You are helplessly sitting over there. So, what Vishwamitra did was he called Ram and Lakshman. What do Ram and Lakshman represent? Ram and Lakshman represent the good intelligence. So when people are trying to throw wrong thoughts in your mind and good people are trying to throw good advice in your mind, you have to choose which one to empower. What is essentially mind management about? There is a Native American story which says that in each and every one of us there are two dogs. I don't know if you ever noticed this. There is a good dog and there is a bad dog. And both these dogs are barking. The good dog is barking and the bad dog is barking. Which one barks more? Which one is more powerful? That dog dominates the other. In most people's life, the bad dog is more powerful. And the bad dog is barking so loudly. You know why? Because all the time in our life, we are empowering the bad dog. What is empowerment of the bad dog? Empowerment of the bad dog is when we allow bad thoughts or faults of others to enter into our minds, which is what these sages were trying to prevent. And the good dog gets empowered only when good thoughts enter into the mind. So, for us to be able to handle the crazy mind, we have to monitor what kind of thoughts enter into our mind. But how do we monitor what kind of thoughts enter into our mind? The filter is a good intelligence. And how do you empower the intelligence to allow the right thoughts to enter the mind? When you have good people who are around you. Jim Rohn, he says, a person is an average of five people whom he surrounds himself by the most. It's an average of 5 people. So, which are those 5 people in our lives? If we monitor those 5 people in our lives who are influencing us the most, then there is a good chance that we will empower the good dog more. And if we don't monitor the 5 most important people in our life, there is a very good chance that we will empower the bad dog the most. Something on parenting. One time, Dasharath, the father of Ram and Lakshman, he was in his kingdom, and Vishwamitra, the sage, he came to his house and he told him that please give me Ram and Lakshman, I need them for a sacrifice. I need them to protect me. I need them to protect the yajna. I need them for the welfare of the world. Dasharath, he started thinking, he had a lot of plans for Ram and Lakshman. He had practically planned their entire careers. He had practically planned their entire lives. He had planned everything for them, just like any other father and mother. Suddenly, when Vishwamitra came in, he felt that his plan is going to be destroyed by the entry of this person. This person is trying to ask me to take my son to a place which is very dangerous, filled with so many demons. So, Dasharath, he started fighting with Vishwamitra, trying to tell him not to take Ram away. Vishwamitra was trying to convince him, but somehow they couldn't get convinced. And then Vashishta, the the spiritual teacher of Dasharath, he came in between the two. They both were having a fight. Vishwamitra was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And Dasharath was trying to defend himself more and more and more. So the problem was, who is wrong here? Is Dasharath wrong or is Vishwamitra wrong? Dasharath is right and Vishwamitra is right. And Dasharath is wrong and Vishwamitra is wrong. How? Vishwamitra, he had the best intentions. He wanted to help the world through taking Ram with him. But his problem was bad communication. Dasharath, he had great love for Ram. That was the positive part. But his problem was, his attachment to his son was preventing the progress of his son. In life, we have so many plans that we make. And plans that we make are so much, and we get attached to our plans so strongly that the moment our plan turns a little bit, we just shrivel like a touch me not, right? We blast like a volcano. Why? Because we feel that my plan has to become perfect because I am perfect. And the moment my plan goes through any change, it's not the problem of the plan. That means it's a challenge to my ego. So here, Dasharath loved his son, but his attachment was preventing the growth of Ram. So many parents, they do this. They love their children. They want to give them a very protective atmosphere. A very protective atmosphere. A risk-free life. But you know what they end up doing? They give them a risk-free life, but they risk living an unsatisfied child. So sometimes in life, when somebody like Vishwamitra comes, somebody like Vasishtha gave an example to inspire Dasharath to let go. The example that he gave was, he said, when a river takes a turn, don't try to stop it. When the river takes a turn, if you try to stop it, you will die. But when the river takes a turn, apparently what happens is sometimes the village may get destroyed. But when the river recedes, the water that recedes back, it leaves so many minerals that it makes a land even more fertile than what it was before. So everything that happens in life, there is a plan of God behind it, due to which it happens. And when we try to interfere and choke that plan, then what happens is that we become instruments in destroying the will of progress. So Dasharath, he was trying to protect his son, but in the process of trying to protect his son, what he was trying to do was that he was not allowing his son to grow. Vasishtha told him that Vishwamitra has so many powers. Vishwamitra has so much strength. He said, Dasharath was feeling Ayodhya is a safe place for Ram. No demons come here. Vasishtha told Dasharath that in fact, Vishwamitra has so many powers that Ram is more safer with Vishwamitra than in Ayodhya. And that's when Dasharath realized that I have to think from a broader perspective. And he learned to let go. Should I tell another story?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, there's a very interesting story from the perspective of relationships. This is not in this book. It's going to be the third book. But this is such an interesting thing, I thought I should share it with you all so that you'll know what's coming up. So, this is one of the most famous sections of the Ramayana because this is where the twist happens in the Ramayana. There are two twists in the Ramayana, and those two twists, they change the story of the Ramayana so much that practically the smooth life that Ram was experiencing, Dasharath was experiencing, the entire Ayodhya was experiencing, completely changes when these two twists happen. This is the second twist. So this is the story of Mother Sita, Ram and Lakshman. They're in the forest, and one fine day a golden deer comes into their life. Every one of us, a golden deer always comes. How we respond to the golden deer, that determines what direction our life is going to go in. I'm not going to discuss the golden deer so much. That's for some other time. But what happens after the golden deer goes is important here. When the golden deer goes away, Sita tells Ram, I want the golden deer. Ram goes and he tells Lakshman, stay here, guard her, and I'll come back. Lakshman is guarding, and at some point of time, the golden deer, Ram understands it's a demon, knowledge. He kills the golden deer, and the deer, before dying, it shouts out the name of Lakshman and Sita in the voice of Ram, and he dies. So Sita here, she's worried that my husband is in trouble. She tells Lakshman, go, help him. Lakshman tells her, come on. First of all, there is nothing called a golden deer because Ram is the creator of all golden deers, of all species, and he has never created a golden deer. And he also tells him, this is a demon for sure. And he says, nothing can go wrong to Ram. Don't worry. Have faith in him. Sita is just not able to handle it. She tells him, you have to go. Lakshman doesn't listen, and then she uses a statement which really hurts Lakshman so badly. Mind you, this is a section of the Ramayana where Ram, Lakshman and Sita, they have been in the forest for 13 long years. After 13 long years, this episode has happened. And in these 13 years, Lakshman has not slept for one night. It's not that he has not slept for one night, all day long he's sleeping. It's not doing a call center job. He has not slept all night and he has not slept all day. All night he's guarding them, and all day he's serving them. After all this, giving up his beautiful wife, giving up the comforts of his family, eating barely anything, hardly sleeping. After all this is what Sita tells him. Sita tells him that, I know why you have come here. You have come here because you are waiting for an opportunity that my husband is in trouble so that you can enjoy me. The moment Lakshman hears it, he's hurt so badly. He just walks away. He tells her, I'm going, but I know for sure when I come back, you will not be here. And he goes off. And then when he reaches where Ram was, Ram looks at him and tells him, why did you come here? See, Lakshman tries to explain, but Ram just doesn't understand. He says, I told you not to come here. And when they reach back and they find Sita is not there, Ram starts blasting Lakshman like anything. So here are two people he loved the most in his life. Ram, Sita. One is doubting his character and one is doubting his competence. When people you love the most doubt your character and competence, what is left in life? If anybody else was in Lakshman's place, by the way, Lakshman was not a simpleton. He was an angry young man. He was somebody who would draw his sword out at the drop of a hat. If anything agitates him, he's not going to keep quiet. When this happens, if anybody else was in Lakshman's place, you know what they would have done? They would have said, hell with both of you, I'm going back to Ayodhya. They would have walked back here, they would have packed their luggage and gone back to Ayodhya. But Lakshman didn't. Lakshman stayed with Ram, he helped Ram, and he continued serving much more than what he was doing for 13 years. You know why? This brings us to the lesson that we want to learn today. How to avoid conflicts in a situation which is most agitating in our lives. All of us go through such situations in our life where we are almost on the verge of blasting on somebody. Just because somebody has said something, just because somebody has done something, just because a situation has happened in our life which sometimes is just out of our hands. What do we do then? Kavitaji was mentioning, we should take a pause. I'll tell you what is the meaning of taking a pause. Lakshman, you know what his thought process was when Sita told that? When Sita made the statement, Lakshman paused for a second. And he thought, why did she make such a statement? He said, she made this statement not because she means it. She made this statement because of her intense love for Ram and her anxiety for Ram. That anxiety made her speak these words. The anxiety of Sita and the non-action of Lakshman created words like this. It was not her intention, but it was a reaction. So Lakshman said, I can't speak here. Why? Because I know what is happening in her heart, and at this point of time, rather than sympathizing with her, if I start arguing with her, I'm not going to serve the purpose. So Lakshman paused. And when Ram lasted on Lakshman, doubted his competence, you know why Lakshman paused? He again thought, why did Ram speak like this? Does he really mean this? He said, no. Ram had never meant this, but he did it because of his intense attachment to Sita. So both of them apparently spoke something really heavy, but both of them didn't mean what they said. They just spoke as a reaction out of intense love. So in life, whenever we go through phases like this, we have to learn to pause. And when we pause, what will make us pause? What will inspire us to pause in the moment of heat? Lakshman, he paused because Ram and Sita, for the last so many years of his life, Ram for 25 years and Sita for 12 years, they have deposited unlimited amount of love, unlimited amount of trust, and unlimited amount of care on him. That love and that care helped Lakshman to take a pause. In our life, when we go through situations like this, where we are on the verge of blasting on somebody, pause and think, am I blasting on this person only because of few statements that he has made or he or she has made? Am I blasting on this person just because of one stray incident in our life? Am I going to forget all the good that person has done to me all my life? Just because of this one statement that he has made, I'm going to judge him, I'm going to criticize him, I'm going to, break my relationship with him? No. When we learn to pause, then we learn to react properly. Rather than react, we learn to respond properly. So in life, to avoid conflicts, when we go through such situations, we need to remember Lakshman. And more than that, we need to remember how to take a pause. One more?
I think we should do the last story because you've taken so much, and we should, if you, ladies and gentlemen, are happy to one more, if you don't mind. He's so articulate, right? So let's have the last story.
Okay, I want to speak this story in very, very brief, but the lesson is very intense. This is the story of leadership. All of us are leaders at some point in our life, in a family, in an organization, in so many ways. So, this is a story of two types of leaders. One is Dasharath. When Dasharath was taking a decision whom to coronate as the next king, he had personally decided that Ram should be the king. But he decided that before making Ram the king, before declaring Ram to be the king, let me consult my kingdom. He called all the most important citizens in his kingdom. So Dasharath, he had different types of people whom he would consult for taking a decision. So he called all of them together and he asked all of them, should we make Ram the king or no? Everyone unanimously said, yes, Ram should be the king. And that's when Dasharath took the decision that let's make him the king. That was one aspect of Dasharath's life. At a later point in Dasharath's life, this is going to be in book 2. So the first thing which I spoke about is in book 1. The lesson I'm going to tell you shortly. But the second thing I'm going to speak about is in book 2, which is the story of how Dasharath decided to banish Lord Ram to the forest for 14 years. You know what was his inspiration and whom did he consult to make this decision? His mind. In the morning, when he decided to make Ram the king, he discussed the entire court. And he practically called all the kings who were under Ayodhya to discuss who should be the king. And in the evening, in the night, when he took a decision that Ram should not be the king and Bharat should be the king, Ram should be exiled, you know how many people he consulted? No one. He only consulted his mind. Leadership is about understanding when to take guidance and when not to. So basically, Dasharath, he followed a certain type of leadership which is known as a circular leadership. This is a leadership system in Ayodhya. I'm talking from the first section point of view. When Dasharath decided to coronate Ram as a king and he decided to consult the entire Ayodhya, he was following what is known as a circular leadership. What is circular leadership? Which is the most important point in a circle? There is no most important point in a circle because all the points are equally important in a circle. All the points, you cannot give one point of prominence in a circle. In a triangle, maybe you can give some points prominent. But in a circle, all the points are equally prominent. So Dasharath's system of leadership in Ayodhya was called a circular system of leadership, means the leader is also a point in the circle. As much importance as the opinion of the leader is, that much is the importance of all other people's opinions in the circle. And what is the center of the circle? The center of the circle is the welfare of the kingdom. The center of the circle is the welfare of the state. So Dasharath was a part of the circle. And when he took the first decision in the morning, he was following the circular system of leadership. But in the night when he took the decision, what he followed was called a pointed decision, a pointed phase of decision, where he didn't consult anybody. He just took a decision on his own. Decisions which are taken by leaders when they are in the mood of being autocratic, when they are in the mood of being coercive, those decisions are always heavy for the subjects to follow. Just like some time back I told you the story of the cow, Shubha, and Vishwamitra the king. He was acting like a coercive leader. He was thinking, I am the leader of this kingdom, the kingdom belongs to me, everything in this kingdom belongs to me, I can just pull anything into my life. The cow represents prosperity. Many people, they feel that you can pull prosperity into your life or push prosperity into other people's lives. You can neither pull prosperity into your life nor pull out the prosperity from somebody else's life.